So first of all, I would like each of you to take a look to your right or your left. Maybe you see somebody new, somebody you already know. But I was just thinking when I started meeting you, if there was a disaster, I would love to be trapped in this room with all of you, because we would probably find a solution to fix everything, right? So with that, I'd like to, first of all, thank GM. Thank you very much for letting me come here today, being part of the innovation program, and also acknowledge the very hard work that Frankie and the committee have been doing over the last many months in pulling together a very diverse set of speakers and thoughts, all of which intended to expand your horizon and thought around innovation. So sit back, relax. The next hour, we'll take a journey together. So when we think about innovation, it's really important to think from the idea to the execution to the time that somebody's writing a check for it, because that's what innovation is. So when you're thinking about your ideas and you're maybe getting frustrated and you're saying, I walked into a meeting and I mentioned my idea and nobody listened to it, you've got to think about what is that idea, right? So I tell my clients who are from typically companies of 200,000 and up in size that each of you are entrepreneurs. And the first answer I get is, I'm not an entrepreneur. I work in a big company. Well, you're just an entrepreneur. There are just 200,000 of you. With the upside that you have funding and space. Life in an entrepreneur, I'll tell you, you don't know what's happening tomorrow. You don't have office space. Many things you don't have that you have here. So fundamentally, you're an entrepreneur, and we'll come back to that. Fundamentally, I'm an entrepreneur. At any moment in time, I'm working on 3 new disruptive technologies to introduce to the market. When you're an entrepreneur, you're like a kid in the candy store of life. The what if button never goes off. You're constantly thinking what if. And you have the culture that you go out and you try to raise money, build it, introduce it to the market, which brought me to Stratera, my current wonderful position where I get to work with very complex environments such as yourselves. And how do we bring and institute innovation in the companies and also begin to look at global, because innovation today is happening equally. And this is something that my Silicon Valley friends don't like to hear. It's not just in Silicon Valley. It's actually happening all over the world. This is what the world looks like, or the universe looks like, 3 billion miles away. 3 billion. The telescope that we have using this, the light is enough to be the light of a bicycle. This is what you see. What's the parallel between this and innovation? There's a lot out there. When I close my lens and all I'm looking at is my job, my world, my project, I'm missing. I don't know. Maybe it's a passion of astronomy or other, but it is what I wanted to share with the group around the possibilities. So this is what brings me together. I wrote Provoke, quite frankly, for one reason. We need to get through a lot of the resistances and issues to move on with the business at hand, which is how do we innovate. When my clients have 200,000 people, 100,000 of them are engineers, I ask one simple question. If I had one idea per engineer per year, right? That's 100,000 ideas. If 1% of those became real, why am I not seeing thousands of ideas emerge from companies? I want you to think about that. What is holding people back? Why is it that we see one announcement per company per year, right? That's not actually the function of the ability in the people. It's about how people believe that they can innovate and why they don't think they can. So my passion comes around all of this, and as we start working together, I urge you to open up your lens. As I've gotten to talk to a number of you just today, I have found you have very interesting other passions that come together. Innovation is very eclectic. We're entering a world, as Gary and I have talked about, that's infused with social media and the market and how the market responds. There are a lot of components that you want to expand your lens to think about how you want to experiment, build, disrupt, and innovate, and it's going to make you super uncomfortable because it's much more comfortable to come at work knowing exactly what you need to do, deliver a phenomenal job, but that's not how we begin to innovate, right? So each of you have ideas that we need to nurture and grow. I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm just an employee. I'll tell you, if one thing really gets to me, we've established your General Motors, look at your history. No one's just an employee because the company wouldn't have been where it is if you're just an employee, right? So if you accept that premise, then you are an entrepreneur. The reason we're here, the reason tomorrow is going on, is because of the company trying to help everyone see there is a change. There's a path around innovation that's starting to happen. There's some really good reasons and obstacles not to innovate. The biggest one of all, I'm only going to mention two, is the first one, which is right there, mental blocks. It's in your head. 99% of the time, the reason we don't do this is because of why we stop ourselves from thinking in that dimension. It's not somebody else, and we'll get to that in a moment. The second one is fear. What if I'm not perfect? What if it fails? Right? I can't really take a risk. So something to think about. In Provoke, I talk about the fact that, yes, we have sustained excellence, but we need to constantly push the walls forward. And that I wrote partly because I work with very big companies, and there's a constant tension between what I'm asked to deliver and now you're asking me to innovate, right? And it's that pivot point that we need to create in our thinking. You see the light bulb that's exploding. That's explosive innovation. Notice that I have put GM now in the box, leading innovation with the other players in the box. So I want you to move out of the box. That's my invitation to you as a provocateur. And the only thing that stands between my proposition and your doing it is whether you're ready. So with that, I thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.